Hello, everyone. Welcome to the World Series of Board Gaming's coverage on the 2023 final of Terraforming Mars. My name is Chris George, and I have with us another space fiend, a space champion out there, if you will. The winner of 2023, you may recognize him from the final tables of Dune Imperium and Ark Nova, one of our 2023 ring champions, Michiel. Thank you so much for coming and commentating, and I'm super excited to have you here. How are you doing today?
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Great to be here. I'm feeling great. Lots of exciting things happening since, the 2023 World Series and since winning the finals in Dune Imperium. Having lots of fun with the new release of Dune Imperium Uprising. So
Amazing.
That's great. So my schedule is filled, but thanks for inviting me, and thanks for giving this opportunity to do some commentating.
Well, I'm really excited to do it with you. It's sort of representative of the World Series. I'm here in Canada, you're over there in the Netherlands, and we're coming together to commentate on a game about space, about Mars that happened in Vegas. We got all sorts of meldings of worlds happening here. And who better than the other space champion of the tournament, you know?
Yeah. And I gotta say, Chris, Terraforming Mars was my first love in board gaming.
Really?
Like beyond
Cool.
Monopoly and Risk. Terraforming Mars was the first game that I played, and I've been hooked ever since. So.
Amazing. That was your jumping off. You went straight into Terraforming Mars, hey?
Definitely. It was my gateway. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. That's a pretty heavy gateway.
Yeah, it is actually. But it's just it has some kind of pull to it.
Right.
The pool is different for every player, of course, but I think that the setup of Terraforming Mars, the way that you play it, it's complicated, but it's not too hard to get into. The thing is, you can do cool stuff. You can throw meteors, and that has like a big pull towards newer players, I think. But to each own, of course.
Yeah, that's true. You do get to do a lot of cool stuff. And if Terraforming Mars was your gateway out there and you want to come to the World Series of Board Gaming, well, I still have a special discount code that is expiring April 1st, so check it out.
You could win your share of $100,000 in cash and prizes just for playing board games. The World Series of Board Gaming is back and bigger than ever. High-level play, friendly competition, national championships, there's no other event of its kind. Are you the next big name in board gaming? Get your tickets now at WSBGVegas.com and use the code IMN to save yourself up to $50. What are you waiting for? It's time to get in the game.
So get your tickets to WSBG. Michiel, are you coming back in 2024 to defend your title, to maybe take a shot at the Terraforming Mars ring this time?
Oh, I definitely want to. And I'm going to defend my title anyway. But, Terraforming Mars 2023 wasn't too good for me. I was out in the first round, but I might try it again.
Nice. You never know what can happen, right? There's always these swings. And why don't we turn to the table and meet our players who've made it to the final table of 2023? All right, so we're coming in right as the players should be revealing their corporations and their prelude cards.
You never know.
We hear Levi saying, "You're keeping how many cards?" to seat one, Jacopo Marcelletti.
It could be that corporation
who
that's
actually
like money and everything.
Jacopo, who put in a testimonial, who came just for this game, and also this is Jacopo's honeymoon. Jacopo came with his wife, his new wife, and it was very fun to see. We got some great pictures of them.
That explains the immaculate suit.
Exactly.
Of course.
So I can't quite see what Jacopo played, but I know Levi has just played down Ecoline, going for forests.
It'll be keeping 3.
Sorry, Jacopo played Credit Core.
Oh, credit core, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Make it a little messy.
This is also so that will increase my plant production by 2, giving me 3 plants.
Credit core going. That's how Jacopo got so many cards in his hand to start. Levi going to be going for a sort of forest strategy on the board. We'll see what Nick and Nicholas. We have two Nicks around the table, so we'll refer to Nick Henning as Nick and Nicholas Benedict as Nicholas. Levi is in seat 2. Levi is our reigning Terraforming Mars champion. Levi took home the ring in 2022 and is hoping to take home another ring in 2023. Nick Henning plays Inventrix. Inventrix down there.
Yeah, it's your first action. Yeah, when the game actually starts.
I hate this
Now, Inventrix is often considered one of the less stronger corporations compared to Credit Core and Ecoline. But, you know, in the hands of a skilled player,
Joke.
can do quite a lot of damage.
47, and I'm keeping 8. So
And then
24. Of that.
Nicholas just played
There's 25.
the Mining Corporation.
Nicholas played Robinson Industries. I
Hmm.
think.
Up all the garbage.
Yeah.
Now, Robinson Industries is a corporation that lets you increase your lowest production for 4 mega credits once per
Okay, so that was a good
generation.
test draft. You guys want to start?
Also not considered quite best corporation in the game,
You may.
but still,
In
you
fact,
know,
have to.
there are some strategies that you can use when you play Robinson.
Yeah.
I'm excited about these picks. Like, it's going to be an exciting game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are much different picks than what I've seen in the 2022 game, which is very exciting. I don't think any one of these corporations, maybe Credit Corp was in there, but I don't think any of these corporations were in the 2022
Give me $2
final.
Yeah.
We see Levi getting to place 2 Oceans down with his first Prelude card. Jacopo was able to increase their steel production and their energy production.
$2. And then experimental forest. I'll place a greenery.
Oh, experimental
Wow.
forest with Ecoline. That's a great start.
Yeah, that's a really good start.
$4.
Levi already getting that engine going and getting a nice $6 bump with those placements as well.
So $4. 2 plants. And start flipping cards until we get 2 connect cards. Yep. 23. Oxygen goes up by
So
1.
now they're going to search the deck, as it's called. They're going to search the deck for 2 cards that have a plant tag on them, which is very good if you're playing Ecoline.
Yeah. Yeah, not only did Levi get that nice bump of the Oceans and the Forest combo, Levi could drop another Forest down pretty quickly.
Noctis farming.
I can't reach it.
But it's Noctis farming in his hand. Gets that extra card bump as well. That's a really strong start, a good draft by Levi.
We moved our discarded cards elsewhere, by the way. Yeah. Trash over here.
I knew you kept that one because I took ecology expert.
You took the college experts.
But I'm first player. No, I'm first player, so I can't play. Because if I start with that, and I don't know where to start.
Contractor. Nice. 3 for blue.
Jacopo already talking about how he took away at least something for Ecoline.
Yeah.
And Fire
Okay,
turbines.
so
I'll pay
I believe Nick is playing Unme
Mhm.
Contractor,
Yep.
and that's very good for him as well because he already starts with extra project cards because of his corporation, and now he's getting even more because of his Unme Contractor. So Nick, after a good start with a lot of project cards in his hand,
Yeah, we might see a planner happening from Nick, holding up to all those cards. And probably why he picked Inventrix, because how the draft works is everybody gets 2 corporations and 1 prelude corporation to choose from. Then they draft a hand of 4 prelude cards and pick 2 of them. And then they also have drafted a hand of 10 starting cards. So there was a lot of drafting to begin that we just cut out of the video to save the time. But the players had access to building a strategy and really using that initial draft to their advantage to come out of the gate swinging and get something that's really beneficial. Because often, the first game of Terraforming Mars that I played, somebody gave me the beginner corporation and they took all the advanced corporations, and I had a handful of 10 cards that all required like 5 science symbols. And having never played the game, I was like, okay. But it really, sometimes you can get a hand that doesn't mesh well. So having that draft at the beginning really kind of mitigates that.
Yeah.
So 2% off. That would be 1 plant and $2.
We see Levi come right out of the gate playing his plant, and I wonder if he's got something where he can drop a city, because that's an enticing place for someone to place a city to start.
Yeah, so city in Terraforming Mars, placing a city gives you two or 2 points in this case, 1 point per forest that's adjacent to the city.
Also, Levi, almost on his way to that first milestone, that forest milestone, almost a certainty that Levi will be able to lock it down before somebody else gets one of the other milestones, especially with his plant production. Still sitting at 3 plants, going to be getting 2 plants, a really wildfire of a start from Levi. I wonder how many cards Nick Henning has. I didn't quite see how many he kept out of the draft, but we know he got an extra 5 through playing the Ocean and playing and just starting as Inventrix. Right off the bat.
16 cards. Seems enough. Yeah, that planner milestone is as good as gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
An immediate, obviously the plan from Nick right from the get-go. Knew he could lock down those 5 points.
That is fun.
Turn 1 funding is an extraordinary thing.
Wow. Yeah. So, for those people watching that have not played a lot of Terraforming Mars, those milestone points are the cheapest points that you can score in the game. You pay 8 mega credits, you get 5 points. That's a very good conversion. Now, players do have to be careful because the money that you spend on those milestones does not go towards your economy. So it can hurt your economy. But you have to snatch them up before somebody else does, because there are ever only 3 milestones to be got. In a 4-player game, you do want to secure at least one of the milestones.
For sure. And milestones are guaranteed points, whereas the awards, as a veteran or many Terraforming Mars players might be knowledgeable of, the awards can be taken from you by big swings in the game. You just fund an award, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are guaranteed those 5 points. It just gives an end game objective.
Exactly.
I'll increase my heat production by 2. My plant production by 2.
Levi increasing his heat production.
Heat production by 2.
I'll probably move Levi's face in post. I put him there because I know where he's playing his cards to expand out, but now we don't see what he's playing as he's playing it. But Levi, also off to a cracking start, is able to increase his heat production by 2 and his plant production by 2, which should put him within really good striking distance of the Gardener milestone. And then it's up to Jacopo and Nicholas to try to get that 3rd milestone before somebody else can. A bit of a worry for Nick Henning's opening strategy. It's a really solid starting play, but it hasn't left him with a lot of money.
We're going to pay 4 for tardigrades.
He's got all the cards, but not all the money.
It's a real card.
It's not horrible. No, it's actually not.
And then for my second action, actually,
I'm going to use my Inventor's Guild. I'm just going to flip this off to show that I've used it.
So Nicholas has a Inventor's Guild plate. It allows you to get extra cards, and that's something that you always want, or almost always want in your games of Terraforming Mars as well. Some way to get some extra project cards aside from the draft that you do each round.
Piece now that is bothering me. Well, this is interesting. Robinson will flip the other way when it's used, spending 4 to increase titanium production by 1.
A really solid use of that guild, though. You can increase any of your lowest by 1, and since you start out with everything, pretty much at 0, depending upon your prelude cards, you can activate some of the better ones, which titanium is for sure a really good discount to have and start building towards.
Research coordination for 4. Here comes 10. 6 back. And then fusion power for 4 steel, which is 8. I need another 6, which I have here. I'm sorry?
Sorry, I was asking how many cards we have.
In my hand.
And
8.
now I'm done. Dispatched.
So Nicholas increased his energy production with fusion power. Investing in future turns, possibly. Energy production doesn't do anything at this moment, but you need that energy to fuel your economy in the future.
And a lot of cards too require you to spend an energy in order to really boost up a lot of your other stats, and so getting a strong amount of energy early is great. You can also convert that into heat. This is a pretty wild start. Nicholas getting to do a lot more than the other players on his turn. We'll see every player now taking their income phase, doing that methodically, and now we can talk about a little bit about the state of what's happened. Nicholas was able to take multiple turns in a row because everyone had done their opening moves. Jacopo managed to play 1 card down. Jacopo did keep a lot of cards, as Levi was saying at the beginning. Maybe Jacopo was hoping to get in on the planner, but I don't think he was close to that 16 card limit. I think Jacopo just had a lot of cards in his hand that probably chained together and is holding on for his next round of production. We're going to really see him take off. Levi is Levi at 8 plants now? Of course he is. Yeah, he manages to lock down 8 plants, guaranteed. Well, maybe not guaranteed. Levi knows no one else is close to a milestone, and Levi will be getting a milestone on his next round, but when he does it is a little bit of a difference. Nick also has to use this income now and his 16 cards pretty effectively. Hopefully he has a lot of cards that discount each other in there. I was only able to play that 1 card out there that will slowly accrue points over the course of the game. And then Nicholas managing to play a lot of cards on the table, which is developing that engine, developing a way to get additional cards and to look at them as we see players head into the draft for the 2nd generation. This is already an electric start, hey?
Exactly. 4 different strategies. It's gonna be fireworks.
Yeah.
Now, the Ecoline and the Credicor Corporation, you could say, are kind of sworn enemies. Ecoline having lots of benefits from their plant production, and of course Credicor being able to throw huge meteors on the surface of Mars, destroying all the plants. It's going to be exciting. I almost can guarantee that Jacopo has some kind of big card in his hand that he's going to play to really block Levi's strategy. But
yeah. Credicor's effect, as we know, is anytime you play a card that's over 20 credits, you get 4 credits back. Now, you still have to have the 20 credits in order to play that card, so you can't play a 20 card for 16 credits, which does end up mattering in terms of how things come out. But that's how you can throw those big asteroids down onto the building, onto Mars, and disrupt the beautiful plant life that Levi is going to attempt to produced this time. Players are passing counterclockwise in Gen 2, and will be passing clockwise in the odd number generations. How many generations do you think this this game will go, Michiel? We can see the amount of time it's taken, but we don't know the amount of gens that it happens. Usually, I always think for a 4-player, 7 to 9 generations is average. Is that your experience?
That's about right. That's about right. Now, I do think because at this game we have some corporations that have more of a longer-term strategy, the so-called engines. I think chances are that this will be a game that this game is likely to have more generations than average, because there are not several players that will benefit from ending the game very quickly.
Spot checking.
I think Levy wants to build up a big board state with a lot of forests, and he doesn't necessarily want to have the game end very quickly. Both Nick and Nicholas have or are developing a strategy that takes quite some time to pay off.
Right.
So I think the only person really benefiting from a shorter game would be Jacopo. But the thing with Terraforming Mars is that usually games with more players have less generations than games with fewer players.
Right. More
Fewer
people are
players.
contributing to the board.
Exactly.
2 discards, keeping 2, 6, 5 in charge.
Roll of money.
Players keeping on average 2 cards each. I don't know if Nick kept anything. You'd think with 16 cards in his hand, he's got other things to pay attention to. But there's also the risk that so many of these cards do such fun things that I always want to keep more than I should. That's my usual downfall in this game, is keeping more than I should. We
And I
see
think
Levi,
that's-
going ahead with that forest play immediately.
$2.
He wants to spend his plans before Jacopo or some other player can destroy him with a big comet. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Definitely makes a lot of sense, especially when you're the only person with plants. So many cards remove plants from a player.
Pass for now.
And Levi passes for now. He doesn't need to claim that milestone. He wants to wait and see what other people do. He doesn't want to reveal his hand too much. We see Nick get pets out as well. Nick getting these really good opening cards.
Yeah, that card's not good enough. It needs a free one.
Pets is an awesome card, especially if there's no city on the board yet.
Yeah.
What Pets basically does is give you half of a victory point per city placed by any player. So
Yeah.
it's good at the beginning of the game.
Skip.
Yeah, really good. Nick's gotten two cards that will really
7.
get a bunch of victory points if the game goes long enough for him.
PlayStation type. Right. Yep.
Thank you.
I know. And for your cash, please. And
Jacopo making sure that Levi can't
So
benefit
you
off of that ocean.
Yeah, really.
And then I'm gonna play capital. I go for oceans. Plus 26. I paid 10 in steel.
That's a nice play.
Yeah.
Jacopo is playing the capital, and that's basically a city that gives you victory points for each adjacent ocean. So normally
Yeah.
cities get victory points for each adjacent forest. This one gets it for each adjacent ocean. Now, there are 3 oceans adjacent, so that means 3 victory points for Jacopo at the end of the game, plus, in this case, 6 mega credits as a return.
Yeah, that's a really solid play. And with his discount as well, he got 4 back just from being Credit Core. So netting 10 and using his steel to take a lot of that as well. Jacopo's got a really nice engine starting,
23.
and that's a really solid board presence.
Exactly.
I think, yeah, everybody. Oh, I'm really excited to see how everyone's varied strategies pan out because it's so different and anything can happen.
Just about. I should have gone hard.
That's 1, 2, 3. Go here. That will increase.
Levi turning an ocean space into a forest.
See a button, push a button.
So that'll give me $2.
And really already soaring ahead on that terraforming track.
$2.
At this moment, he is the only player really terraforming.
Yeah.
So he's the only player really working towards the end of the game, which is good. You know, with every forest that he places, he basically gets 2 victory points. One for increasing on the oxygen track, which also converts to 1 extra income. But also 1 victory point at the end of the game for each forest placed. So
Tap him just because it's straight.
he's racking up the score right now.
I actually just tap him. I don't do the cube thing. That was it for me.
Oh, sorry. I'll go with space station. It's 10.
We see Nicholas activating his abilities and just checking out. You'll see that a lot of these players are only taking 1 action per turn. Now you have the option of taking 2 actions per turn if you ever want to do a big combo play. But generally, you see these players taking 1 action because they're sussing out their opposition. There's nothing that they really need to race their opposition for right now, or they want to keep their cards close to the chest.
So you see this a lot in a more competitive setting of Terraforming Mars. At home games, you always take your 2 actions.
Yeah.
Because you're playing with friends, you're playing a friendly game. When it's more competitive, you just want to do that 1 action unless there's a specific reason to take 2 actions.
Yeah.
For example, you do want to claim that milestone before somebody else does it. But with every player turn, the situation on the board can change. A lot of cards are dependent on what other players have or how many tags are in play or whatever. So usually, from a strategic point of view, it is wise to just do 1 move unless there is a specific reason to do a second move.
Sure. Natural preserve. Tap. 1 out.
Nick playing Natural Preserve, getting him some victory points, getting him a boost on mega credits, and getting him a spot on the board.
Weird stuff. This can't
Where
touch
is he going to place it? That's the question. Oh, it can't touch anything. So he can't mess with Levi's plan completely, but he could drop it in that sort of right quadrant, getting some plants for himself, and potentially disrupting what is going to definitely be Levi's stronghold on this map. Or he could go for card draw, although he probably doesn't need it, considering he got the planner. Or he can go for some titanium and steel. He goes for card draw. Doesn't like the 16 cards that he had. Needs a couple more.
I think it's a wise choice in this case. Like, plans are not going to do that much for him at this moment. And you know, with a card, you never know what you draw. So.
Wow, Nicholas playing those robots that can copy any sort of brown box, and he moves his energy up to 8, which is kind of the magic number because his energy will convert into heat, and he'll be able to start moving that temperature up and getting into the game here. Although it is a bit slower because you have to wait rather than just getting heat production. You have to leave your energy production, but as we said, and as we saw with Jacopo's big city play, you need energy to do a lot of things.
Yeah. Nicholas would definitely benefit from a big science strategy here. There are some cards in the deck that really reward you for having a high energy production, such as being able to just straight up buy victory points for energy.
Right.
Which would be very convenient for him right now.
Well, sort of. Something is happening.
And I get 2 heat.
And we see some of the players moving to their income phase. just getting prepped.
So
I don't know if
I'm
Jacopo has any
research-
more turns to play, or if he's already passed.
1 and 24 makes 25.
and I haven't.
I think everybody is passed and everybody's doing their income.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that would be an awful lot of money for Jacopo to still be holding on to after.
Exactly.
1 metal,
So move that up.
metal, 5
For
of
the
these
cycling
things
state of the
there.
way.
And this way everybody can check each other's work as well.
And then I get
That is how that
25,
goes down.
26.
Jacopo is sitting with a lot of a decent amount of money. He had around 16 or 17, but I guess he's probably sitting on a lot of 20 cost cards. Like we were saying, you need at least 20 in order to start slamming them out and putting them out onto the board.
Yeah.
Start.
Oh, I blundered. Say again. I blundered.
And Nicholas doing sort of a reverse cube tracking system on his board. Normally, whenever I'm playing, I put a cube on it once I've used it. But Nicholas puts cubes on to start, knowing that he still has things to activate, and then takes them off. Which actually might be a better, more intuitive way of doing it, because then you don't forget, right? You can survey your board, you can see, oh, there's a cube there, I have to pay attention to it. The red drawing your attention as a little alert symbol.
Exactly. I might start doing that as well, because I did it the same way
Yeah.
you did, and I often forget that I still have actions.
I definitely always forget that I have actions, and then I'll be, wait, no, surveying it, they got to come out of order. It's just if I can shift my brain in that kind of thinking to remember that I haven't used it, because I've done it that way for so long, it might take a little bit of relearning that habit.
I think there's a lot of Arc Nova, also a lot of Arc Nova fans that are, they're not horrible, but that aren't, highly good. Are we missing those?
We're hearing, so if you hear some chatter in the background, behind this table is the final of Gaia project going on. And we're hearing the voice of Ricky Boys, who was 2022's Seven Wonders ring champion. We didn't really introduce the players around the table. We kind of stopped at Levi, but Nick Henning is actually a double ring winner from 2022. And I believe you faced off against Nick Henning in the Arc Nova final table. Is that right, Mikhail?
That is correct. That is correct. Great guy to play against. And indeed, as you say, the only person who has won 2 rings on the World Series of Board Gaming, right?
Well, we had 2 double ring winners. Gray Baker, the former Dune Imperium 2022 champion, whom I guess you've overthrown, also won the Splendor Ring in 2022 as well.
I have no doubt.
That's right. That's right.
They
Yeah.
set me up for that. That's why.
And then Nicholas Benedict, I believe this is Nicholas Benedict's first final table in WSBG. I don't believe Nicholas was attending at 2022, but was here at 2023 and has made this final table. Jacopo, I believe Jacopo was here in 2022, but this is Jacopo's first final table as well, which is exciting. It takes a lot to make a final table. Anybody who makes a final table should be commended. They should, their skills should be not in doubt. We have some great players at this table, and even just making the finals is a huge, huge accomplishment, however many times you may happen to do it.
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to do my super duper cool button. This is my man right here.
Still in the drafting phase, Nicholas really deciding on that second draft. But generally the players know their strategies at this point. Levi is looking for plants. If it doesn't have plants on it, or doesn't have a way to create cities, Levi's maybe passing it on. I mean, that's a bit derivative. There are many, many cards in the game, but we can see the formation of Levi's strategy. We know how Levi's path to victory. Nick's path to victory right now looks like getting those point cards down, really building up, slow playing that engine, getting enough of those cards down that accrue points slowly over time, and stretching out the game and making sure that he can access all of those end game points on cards. Feels like Nicholas and Jacopo are playing what I would refer to as, fairly standard Terraforming Mars games. They're really focusing on their engines right now. Jacopo obviously focusing on those high point cards, which do a lot of stuff. And Nicholas getting in that blue action game, and with the energy as well, hoping to be able to soar up that heat track and make up the points that the others have managed to get.
Exactly. And so at this moment there is still room for engine building in the game, but as we discussed before, like, the game is most probably going anywhere between 7 and 9 generations.
Yeah.
Right around that third, fourth generation, you want to switch from engine building to actual point scoring, because your engine building cards are not going to pay off anymore at some point. And that is about that fourth generation mark. Some cards do it better than others, but generally speaking, in a generation or two, you want to switch from engine building to point scoring.
And that'll be good to pay attention to see who's still struggling and trying to keep pace, who feels like they need to develop even more of an engine because they're lagging behind, and who is kind of setting pace out front and will emerge as the front runner. We see Levi again didn't spend that $8 on that milestone, even though he's very able to get it because nobody is within striking distance of the other ones. The landlord or the mayor, it's very telegraphed, right? Somebody needs at least 2 turns in order to get the mayor.
Yeah.
And no one is close to that 35 terraforming rating. There's no way you can really do a huge jump up in terraforming rating. And then also the builder, you can keep track of everybody's building tags, which I don't think anybody's that close to. I think Jacopo has 2, Nicholas has 1, and Nick might have 1. I don't think anybody is going to get that anytime soon. Yeah,
they're not even close, and that's why it makes sense for Levi at this moment to invest all of his money into his economy instead of going for those points, which he can do at any time, basically.
$2.
Nick decides to capitalize on, again, that sort of end game point strategy, the hidden point strategy, by dropping that next to both of Levi's forests and the ocean. It's the optimal spot on the board right now. But I kind of wonder if it would be better to have put it more on the right side. Sure, Nick gets the 2 credits right now, but I think Levi's more incentivized to build towards the right because it gets him more plants as well. I guess maybe not. There is that ocean there that's blocking it on the right.
Yeah. Yeah, that is dependent on Levi's play, of course, but you never know exactly what's going to happen. I think Nick chose specifically here for getting those 2 mega credits back from the ocean, which doesn't seem like a lot, but those small bonuses add up over time.
Definitely makes a difference, and especially when Nick had to pay so much to keep so many cards at the beginning to get that planner play going. I think I was talking over it, but Jacopo played another big card where Levi used to have 8 plants, and now Levi has 4 plants. So I have no doubt that Credit Corps is starting the asteroid assault upon Ecoline and just slamming asteroids into Mars rather than creating beautiful forests. Different ways of building up a planet. Some choose destruction, some choose flourishing life.
Exactly. Well, one is dependent on the other, right? Those asteroids cause the temperature to rise. So you need that for a flourishing ecosystem as well.
That's true.
And the forests are used for the oxygen.
Now this is interesting. With that play from Jacopo, he's put the temperature within reach for any player who chooses to raise it. They'll also get a little bump in their heat production. which he's obviously clocked that Nicholas down in the corner doesn't have enough to raise it right now, and is maybe banking that nobody will use a special project
For my second action,
to,
I'm gonna pass for
or
that.
a standard project rather, to move it up and get that heat production. It's always nice getting those bumps, those free bumps of income, but I also don't know if you're not going for a heat strategy, how much it really makes a difference of getting that heat production. It's significantly less than getting a temperature bump yourself on the oxygen track or getting a free ocean up top on that temperature track.
Exactly, the free temperature or free ocean. Now that's a big, like, that's
Yeah.
a victory point in itself. A heat production is nice if you already have something, but think about it like this: if you gain a heat production at this point, it's not going to be able to let you raise the temperature by 1 for this whole game, because
Right.
it will take 8 turns for it to pay off. So
Yeah, and nobody really having gotten heat production other than Levi, just kind of at happenstance with playing that card that gave him plant production, which was obviously the preferred benefit.
I am not going to friend this.
Not this time.
This time. That was a huge blunder.
Oh, Levi forgot to activate one of his blue cards in the second generation. I think that's what he's saying. He said, "I won't forget to do this one," and added a resource to his card.
Skip.
Okay.
Jacopo having one of my favorite blue cards in the game, which increases your titanium and steel efficiency. So I think he's got the one where each titanium you spend is worth an extra one, and each steel you spend is worth an extra one, making your steel worth 3 discount, your titanium worth 4 discount. Jacopo's managed to accrue a lot of titanium as well from playing those larger event cards.
4, and that's gonna be
yeah, that's very good for him. That
Mhm.
card is called Advanced Alloys. It's considered one of the better cards in the game, at least for your economy.
Yeah, it feels so good when you get it early on, and if you're in a position like Jacopo is, getting 4 steel every turn, like that's 12 bucks in the bank.
That's big. That's big.
So 23 now. This is going in the wrong direction. 1, 1, 1. 8. This goes over.
We see it looks like everybody has passed and they're going through their income phases as well. Yeah, Robinson is tough.
Super excited.
Nicholas trying to get in on the plant game as well, but like you said, since you only get to improve your lowest tier by 1 step, and it's related to that engine building, it's hard to convert into points down the line, because when you hit generation 5, 6, 7, I guess you can get a slight discount on titanium, but you're paying $4 to increase the titanium by 1, which then gets you a $3 discount, right? Like it starts to become a little bit counterintuitive. It's a really tough corp to play.
Yeah, at a certain point, it's not going to do a lot for you anymore. So yeah, Robinson definitely one of the harder corps to play.
If we were at home, we'd
Levi getting his production
Player 1.
going again. He's
I'm sorry?
back up to another 8 plants. Levi could have a chance. I'm trying to think about who might claim that third and final milestone.
Guarantee it.
Nick is aiming for it with his landlord. Nick has a chance, especially dropping that city down. I think that's probably what Nick is going for. Nick's probably trying to lock down these early milestones, and then will hope to just gain points off of his cards.
24 and 2 is 26.
But I worry for Nick's engine,
Taking a lot of the singles.
because he does have a lot of cards, and he doesn't have those key discounts of steel and titanium, or in plants, really. Levi doesn't have steel or titanium, but at least he's got his plant generation. And then Nicholas has a little bit of everything, and then Jacopo sitting with a lot of steel, and as we said, with those advanced alloys, going to be really clutch for his decision making down the line.
Only one of those has much value to me next turn, and that is
I'm 0 for 4 at finding cards with that stuff, though.
first pick, right?
We just heard Nicholas say, "Yeah, I'm 0 for 4 with finding cards, with finding any good cards,
Right.
with his drawing." Sometimes you can keep drawing cards, and you just don't get the ones that you need.
The part that I'm worrying about you is
I
just
haven't even made a set.
That's why that initial 10 card decision is so significant, because those are the most cards you're going to see pretty much all game.
play it safe. You're probably gonna
Exactly.
save one anyway,
That's
which is
yeah, that's always a little bit of a bad feeling if you just cannot find the cards that match your
Sometimes
strategy
you just
base.
don't know what
Because
it is.
you at a certain point you need to draw the right cards
I might not get that
to
past
work on your strategy.
Actually,
If they're just not coming, they're just not coming. But that's why a lot of people prefer to have at least one extra draw engine in their whole setup
Right.
to at least increase their chances of drawing that card or that type of card
oh
that you
wait,
need.
sorry, didn't realize we were behind.
right, that's not a,
The rush.
I was too focused on play.
but I think I just saved myself.
Jacopo realizing something with this card, saying, "Uh-oh." The pace of this game has been really good. You can see how high level these players are because they're able to look at a hand of cards, know, okay, this is garbage, this doesn't work for me, this is the best option, right? But sometimes you do get hit with some difficult decisions.
At some point I must get some.
Yeah, of course, and this is high level play, of course. So I wouldn't fault any player for taking a little bit of time to think, but these guys obviously have played so much Terraforming Mars
Yeah.
that they know the cards by heart, no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
And it is true. I mean, there's a lot on the line. You get to walk away with one of those WSBG rings with all the diamonds encrusted, the name of the game on the side. You have your Dune Imperium ring. You know how cool that is.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then you also get a spot in the semifinals of the main event where if you win your random game, you move on to that final table, which gives you a shot at the grand $25,000 prize. I'm interested in this drafting phase as we see a leader emerge. I mean, it's a little hard to tell right now, but it feels like Levi is a bit out ahead just with that supremely strong start and with the points on the board and also being in the lead on the terraforming track. But there's a lot of hidden points in Terraforming Mars, so you can't really put too much stock in who's leading right now, even though it is Gen 4. But I'm interested to see if a leader emerges, how the seat position will determine hate drafting.
Keeping none of them.
Right? Will Nick and Jacopo have to take cards away from Levi, opening the door for Nicholas, who doesn't have to worry about it, just by virtue of being across the table? Same with Nick Henning. He doesn't have to worry about taking away large cost cards from Jacopo because he knows that Levi and Nicholas will do it.
Exactly. But at this point, it's still anybody's game.
Yeah.
So
I'm really excited to see who locks down that final milestone. I think Nick Henning has a plan to get the landlord. That's my bet right now, just judging by the board state. Although I think Levi would love it if he could get to the terraformer at 35.
Nick, of course, having that extra advantage of getting a pet every time he places down a city. So, yeah.
And that playing pets in the first round or the second generation, before any cities were laid down,
how many did you buy?
there's, I mean, it's going to be worth at least 5 points to 6 points at the end of the game, right?
That is something to be expected. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really good point conversion. But again, it's always that struggle with Terraforming Mars. It's that decision of how much do you invest in your engine and how much do you invest in points. It's that fine, beautiful balance that makes this game just so good. Which is why it's been in the top 10 on Board Game Geek, probably, I don't know, since it hit the scene, and I don't see it leaving anytime soon.
No way. No way.
I think I'm just gonna keep one.
Nick keeping one card.
Now it's everybody.
Again, Nick's hand of cards
Putting out 8.
will soon be covering his face. It'll be stacked so high.
Thank you. Somebody has to. Certainly haven't been increasing it. Yes. And then I'm going.
Nicholas
to
gets to increase his TR for the first time.
Some titanium. That's 2 actions.
I'm gonna play media group. That costs me 6. 11. I change.
Nicholas is falling a bit behind in points.
Yeah.
You can see he's at 21 on the victory point track, the terraforming track. Also, not a lot of points on cars at this moment.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, everyone else has some sort of hidden points, if not on the track, but Nicholas does feel like he might be lagging in that hidden point category as well.
Don't know if you
A really good play by Jacopo playing Media Group. That's a good get for Credicore, because a lot of those high-cost cards are going to be events. Now every time Jacopo plays an event, not only if it's over 20, he'll get 7 mega credits back. That's a huge discount if he's able to kind of chain those together. And if he doesn't, if it's not over 20, he still gets 3 back for every event because of that Media Group blue card.
Exactly, and I'm kind of liking his chances right now. He's got a really good combo set up. So if he can get those big event cards, if he can get those meteors and asteroids, he plays them. He gets a lot of money back. Also, the asteroid cards, the meteor cards, they give you titanium, which again he can use for 4 mega credits to play another big space event card. So
yeah,
his engine is looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's very exciting on over there, and I think Levi recognizing that, playing some sort of sanctuary down, putting it right beside the capital. Well, I guess the capital can't really get any more points with the oceans, but.
Are you doing a second action?
We might see Jacopo going for that Terraformer award before Nick can get the major award.
Thank you for avenging Nick. He's been bullying me.
That's terrifying over there. Just the whole setup.
And we hear Nick saying, "That's terrifying," recognizing what we've just been talking about. Targeting Jacopo. Levi saying, "Thank you. He's been bullying me, taking away all of my beautiful plants."
Well, I ponder what I'm going to do with it. I'm gonna skip.
But I do love. There's Nick also played a really good card down. I think Earth Catapult. It looked like. I think he did play Earth Catapult, which gives him a two coin discount for any card, which is pretty decent for Nick at this point, considering Nick hasn't played a lot of cards and is still holding on to a lot of things. But yeah, it's a quieter table than some of our other final tables, but I think it still feels like a really friendly table. You know, anytime someone is attacked, there's still smiles around the table. I think the players recognize it, and in Terraforming Mars, whenever there are those kind of attack cards, lesser players who don't know the board state and don't see what people are doing might make a mistake and target the wrong people, and at home you might throw a little bit of a tantrum because they targeted you. But here, I think all the players recognize, yeah, okay, I know if someone's playing this one, I'm the target for that, and it's nice to see that people are recognizing that, and it helps the table just be fun and friendly and still have a lot of smiles around, even when you are playing for the title of 2023 World Series champion.
Exactly. Now that's something that I find really special and really awesome about the World Series of board game. Yes, it is competitive. You can go all out. You can bring your best shot to the table. But at the end of the day, everybody is friendly to each other. Everybody congratulates each other. There's no sad faces, no sour feelings. It's just competition in its best and purest form, I think.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. I've been saying that off the rooftops. I've been shouting it off the rooftops. But it's always great to hear from players who have competed and who share who voiced that same opinion. That's why board gamers are awesome, though, right? Even in a competitive sense, right? You get such a good group of people who just want to play, have fun, challenge themselves, put their best foot forward, and just do our best, really.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really liking how Jacopo's engine is ramping up, especially just with that little play, drawing 2 cards, getting money back for the event, basically drawing them for free. It's got a really nice flow to it. Levi funds our first award, funding the landlord. Levi recognizing that he's going to have a lot of forests on the board.
That's an award here, right?
Yeah.
Award?
Skip.
Just for my groups, cost me 12, paid in steel.
Oh, I might have lost you for a second, Nikhil, but I think we were saying the exact same thing.
Exactly. Levi funds the Landlord Award as the first player, so he gets it for as cheap as possible. And I think he does this because he knows he is going to have the most board presence at the end of the game.
For
he
sure.
already has 4. Yeah, he already has 4 forests down. So he is way ahead on that award.
Yeah.
Where were you?
A really nice, timely funding. Although usually, too, at this point in the game, I could try to see what other awards will be funded, and I don't really have an idea. Everyone's around the same in mega credits. No one's really shot ahead. I guess Jacopo's in the lead on that one. Maybe Jacopo, also with his steel production, might be looking for the minor. No one really going on heat left over. And no one really investing heavily in science either. I'm not sure what other awards will be funded.
Yeah, we might not see any other awards this game because you've got to realize that if you fund an award, you always help another player as well, of course, because the second place also gets some victory points.
True. And so if that's your biggest competition around the table, Levi making just a really delicious spot for someone's next city, though.
Yeah, I do believe that Jacopo already played the event called Land Claim, and he did claim that city spot already. So Levi is setting up Jacopo for a pretty nice city spot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can see the... I couldn't quite see the yellow cube, but I can see it now that you point that out. Jacopo bullying Levi, taking away his plants, and still the forest gives back. But Levi obviously placing that forest to chain back into the getting the placement bonus, getting 2 plants there, and we'll move on and get 2 more plants. It's still still benefits.
Husbanding it, but I think it's going to be research outpost for 18. It's going to make it 14. It's going to make it 15.
So what I would be looking at this point for any of the other players, like you, I would want to prevent Jacopo from placing a city on that yellow cube. Now, what I would be looking at is placing a city right there between the ocean and the forest to at least prevent them from placing a big scoring tile there.
Right. We see Nicholas is playing his research outpost. He has to play a city somewhere that's not connected to any other place. So chooses to go to the left side of the board where at least if some plants are made, you can chain back in.
7:15 tomorrow morning, you all need to be there for the ring presentation because we will announce the finalists for each table and bring you up. for all that, okay?
I'll think about it.
Good luck.
Wait, are you serious?
That's serious.
The winner or everybody?
Everybody. We do all the finalists every morning. Yeah.
We hear the voice of John Hagmeyer.
Nick's gonna forfeit. First on the interview. Yes, please.
Just telling the players that
you're gonna have at least 100.
they would have an early ring ceremony in the morning the next day.
Everybody else. It'll be pretty big crowd tomorrow.
So this final table, viewers got to realize, I think, is late at night. Do you know the exact time, Chris, that it started?
Yeah, I know that Gaia was going until like 12 a.m. So I think this is at least 9 p.m., maybe 10 p.m. I imagine when this is done, it'll be around 11:30 or 12. So it's the first day. This happened on the first day of WSBG. This is the first day of tournaments, but because of the next day and start time with other games like Great Western Trail and other longer games as well, we have to get the ring ceremony happening before any of the other games start the next day. So if you win your ring and you wanted to celebrate and have it presented, you gotta wake up at 7:15. And we also like to sort of just celebrate the final table. Like we were saying, it's a real feat making the final table, and it's nice to recognize everybody who managed to get there.
Depending on who you ask.
And some people sleep in. Some people say, I didn't win the ring. Nah, I'm sleeping in, and I'm upping my chances to win the one tomorrow, which is, completely fine.
Yeah. Fair argument.
20. Oh, I'm up to 24.
There's 35. Oh my god, what's tomorrow? Is it tomorrow? No.
Players are taking income here again.
So we're on to Generation 5.
At this point, you really want to start earning those victory points. A lot of the cards that are in the game right now aren't going to do a lot for you anymore in terms of engine building or whatever. At this point, your engine should be working.
Yeah. And this is also an interesting conundrum for Inventrix, because Inventrix ability gives you a little bit of wiggle room on when you play things, but a lot of the things that have a requirement are early game cards, right? The requirements that you can only play them earlier on is because they are going to be played earlier in the game and have different shifting abilities later in the game. So it's interesting to see what'll happen with Inventrix, but I always find that the oxygen with Inventrix is the thing you want to pay attention to. Not necessarily the heat. For me, I like being able to drop birds and things that will really benefit you and get you points along the lines of those pet points. And so it'll be interesting to see if Nick's holding on to any of those in his hand and can really use Ecoline pushing up the oxygen before the heat to his advantage.
Yeah, do note though that Inventrix works both ways. So the requirements, Inventrix allows you to play those early game cards that you usually can only play when the temperature or oxygen is very low. It allows you to play those cards later on in the game, or somewhat later on in the game. So what Inventrix basically does for you, it gives you extra cards, and it allows you to, it gives you a bigger window to actually play those cards.
All right,
Yeah.
well, there you go. We know you have that.
I might have discarded it. You never know.
Round 5 passages left.
The players keeping track of what cards were drawn. Ecoline drawing that Noctis Farming at the beginning of the game, and Levi having not played it. It requires -20 or warmer. You get 2 plants, you get to increase your money production, and it is worth a point. It's only worth 10. So Nicholas thinking about pushing over that heat so that Levi can't get it onto the table. Just talking about requirements, that's...
Well, I have 4 power. Traditionally, when one has 4 power, I will...
So do you still like Chris's, or sorry, Nick's chances to claim that major award?
Yeah, it's I really don't know. I think it's still Nick's to. I think with all the cards in Nick's hand, maybe he's has been sitting on something like an immigrant city. Although you need more cities on the board in order to play that one effectively. But maybe he's sitting on a lower cost city card. He's just waiting to drop it, claim that milestone. I still would bet on Nick being able to claim that. Although Jacopo's moving up in the builder tag. Jacopo has 5 builder tags now. So, and especially with that increased steel production with the advanced alloys,
Again,
that also I think is something to watch out for.
Want that card. Or those cards.
Still 10 house roll.
I'm gonna take this card, considering what I'm giving you. This is the last, right?
Players again going through that draft pretty quickly and now making the decision. What I really like about the draft at the beginning, which we didn't see, but players will get 5 cards. They'll draft a hand of 5 cards, and then they'll get 5 more cards to finish their hand of 10 cards. And so I really like the choices that happen when drafting that initial way, because you have your first hand and you know you're going to get 2 cards out of that hand, right? Which makes it a little bit of a different decision than the 4-card draft that you will play for the remainder of the turn. You will get to see that those cards come back to you. And so I find that kind of interesting. And then you have 5 cards which you can really use the basis of to draft the rest of your hand as well.
Exactly. And with the 5-card draft system, it also it encourages like a mix of better and slightly worse cards, you know. So the better cards are going to be picked first. So the second card that you pick up of those 5 cards will most likely not be a premium card per se, but it might be a good piece of your combo.
Yeah. And being able to work with that and then tie that into your corporation, I think that's a very exciting way to start off a game. I also like how the corps are determined, that everybody gets 2 regular corps and 1 prelude corp, because depending upon what you have, they all might be different, but it's nice to have access to some prelude corps. You know, it's nice to make sure you have the opportunity.
Exactly. And it also, because some players think that the power levels between prelude corps and base game corps it varies a bit. Doing a draft like this, a so-called highlight draft of the corporations, it allows for more diversified matches, and you know there are less situations where somebody just gets a pick out of the 3 best corporations in the game.
We see Jacopo does manage to grab that spot before it's blocked. That city going to be worth 3 points, equaling Levi. It feels like Jacopo and Levi are slowly, you know, creeping ahead. But I'm very interested to see all of the hidden points that Nick Henning's sitting on.
Heat production. Increasing my heat production from 2 to 3.
We also might see Jacopo start to consider funding that banker award, because Jacopo's sitting at 10 on his mega credits, and everyone else sitting around the 2 or the 3 area. It doesn't seem like people would spend the time to invest into that avenue and take it from him, but there can be some wild swings. My favorite thing to do with the banker, once it's funded, if I have a high heat production, is to get the thing that turns your heat production into mega credits and have that as your last play and just steal it away from somebody. So there are still possibilities for those big swings to occur.
Yeah, and that's the thing with awards. Jacopo might consider taking that banker award, but you know it's pretty useless if I think Levi is his biggest competition at this point.
Right.
If Levi would be second on that award, it wouldn't be too good of an investment for him.
Yeah.
So at this moment, claiming that second award would not be something that Jacopo would want to look to do. But
We see Jacopo playing another huge card,
I have the
getting to play an ocean,
the ocean.
eliminate some plants, I think.
Get 1 TR. And I get 7 plants. 5 plus 2, 7. 7 plants. 7 plants. Along with that, 2 cards.
7 plants, and then I think I know exactly where he's going to be dropping those plants, right in between those oceans, getting that steel, increasing his building.
Second action. Oh, I get 3 cashback from playing an event.
that's a huge play.
my
That's a
second
huge card for Jacopo.
plans. So greenery tile. Right here.
Dropping that right in between, getting some $4 back, and a steal, which is worth 3.
4.
Yeah, a really, really solid play. That's where you see those two plays happening back and forth. Jacopo wanted to make sure that nobody took that spot from him.
Yep.
Got the plants that he needed, and then dropped them right down.
I will.
I mean, what a lucky guy, right? Getting married in Vegas, getting
Yeah.
off his combo at the final table.
Yeah, it can't get much better than that. Hopefully he can add a ring to his ring.
Exactly. If not that, I would be visiting the roulette tables if I was him.
Yeah.
Got 2 research tags, so 13 for plantation.
I wasn't expecting this.
That's going to cost me 8 to 6.
Yeah, we still haven't seen that third milestone happen, but Jacopo's now at 6 builder tags, I think, by my count.
Maybe he was lying about it, but he almost got one there, so let's take some shit. I want to free my guy up for a person.
Second action.
Second action. Mine expedition.
Okay, please. Oof. One.
Does he go right here?
Nice, a really nice double play by Nick, getting him 3 points, or 2 points. Well, 3 points total, because he's able to increase the oxygen and get that temperature bump like we were talking about, and he increased the oxygen with his forest play.
Yeah, pretty nice. And here we see another situation where it's really beneficial to be able to do 2 actions in one turn.
Mineral deposit. 5.
And also a really great grab by Nick, because Levi as Ecoline manipulating that oxygen track was the most likely to be able to get that bump, and so Nick getting that is pretty clutch to take those points away from Levi as well. It is looking to be a bit of a 3-way race at this point. Nicholas doesn't feel like his engine has been cooking. He's been drawing cards and hasn't gotten the things that he wanted.
Okay. Yeah, when I heard it, I was thinking it was double digits.
I do see some blue cards in his hand, but I don't think it's the one he likes.
Right.
I would have bet that Nicholas was going for a big science strategy, but did not find any of his combo pieces, which is a shame. I always like the big science strategies.
I do too. If I can go for it, I'm gonna go for it, and that often is to my detriment as well. The last game of Terraforming Mars I played, I started off with I was the Science Corp, and I started off with the one that needs 7 science symbols in your hand and then discounts everything by 2, and I said, okay, that's my whole strategy. But then I got too attached to it, right? There's the danger of getting too attached to the opening cards in your hand and not hate drafting enough, and not getting too tunnel visioned and getting too focused on those cards, and not playing the other players at the table. And that's what happened to me. I lost. I was so mad.
That's a big thing, but you know it happens to everybody, and not just in Terraforming Mars. Like tunnel vision
For sure.
in a board game is one of the biggest downfalls, of course.
Oh, for the two oxygen bombs.
Right, because the last one I moved, it was the yellow.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so he
Nick catching on the board, just an accidental move
I should have
by
played yellow.
Jacopo.
Alright, I'm gonna add.
Go see what.
There again, no ill intent. It's so easy to move the wrong piece. And there was a conversation that I cut out beforehand. Jacopo saying, "Well, I'm colorblind, so usually I play red. Otherwise, a lot of the other ones, it's a bit hard to see."
Because I went playing yellow.
and I didn't catch it.
I'll keep it to 11 o'clock.
All scores are approximate.
And then that's, I'm going to skip.
But a good catch by Nick,
It's got the border.
and easy to reverse it and make sure that the right points were allotted.
I am gonna build a shed.
Again, displaying the spirit of the competition, you know.
For sure.
It's, people are competitive at this table, but I think the common feeling is that everybody wants to win fair. Like, you don't want your victory to be stained by some kind of minor oversight.
100%. Everybody wants to win, wants to be the best, you know? And you be the best by beating the best. That's how you do it.
Exactly. So even though the general rule is that there are no takebacks, you see that WSBG card on the table for the viewers. Once that's passed on to the next player, the turn is essentially over. You shouldn't be able to take back. But in the spirit of the game, a lot of players agree that if you forget to take something that would automatically happen, so that's not decision dependent, people allow you to take that one money income or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, just all in the spirit of a friendly game.
Steps. You get a pet. And I'm gonna place my city here.
Jacopo getting another city on the board. It certainly seems I'm going to retract my milestone bet from Nick Henning at this point. And I think Jacopo is getting it if it's either the landlord or either the mayor or the builder. I think he'll be for the builder tag. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, he does get the mayor though.
Oh, yeah.
Locks down the mayor because Jacopo had that capital city. You hear Jacopo saying that was a challenging one. I think it was, yeah. I did not expect Jacopo to be able to pull out that milestone. Nick Henning probably feeling it right now.
Yeah.
And Levi's just building more plant cards.
Time money production from 3 to 5. And time production
It's
from
always
7.
the stupidest choices that take the most time.
And give me 2 plants. And then we'll trigger ecological zone and decomposers. So 1 eco zone.
Yeah, I do think Jacopo needed that milestone to stay into the game, actually.
For sure.
As you can see on the score track, Jacopo is behind on both Nick and Levi by a 4-point difference. He's behind by a 4-point difference on Levi, so Levi already having this milestone. If Jacopo wouldn't have been able to claim that would have made the gap too big.
Yeah, I agree. Really clutch for Jacopo's chances as well. Keeps him in the game. And especially because Nick has the most sort of hidden points, we'll say. It's not really hidden because they're on his cards, but it's not on the track.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm done for that.
Yeah, I had that in the opening draft. It's in the tech eco
Play
experts.
Sacred Files. And skip. Over to you.
But I know I was giving you great aquifer, which is still good.
Yeah, the great aquifer with the...
You underestimate.
Jacopo and talking about the cards that he wished he could have hate drafted everything away from Levi.
Activated this. Other active actions.
Talking about their prelude cards. Because Levi getting that great Aquafire.
I will pass.
Past. I will play strip 9 for 4. This is 6 and 12. So I need another 12, which I have here. This goes down 2.
11, and the red, so 20.
Now, Michiel, I'm curious, in your games of Terraforming Mars, what do you see more often? The oxygen, which do you see be finished more often? Oxygen, heat, or oceans? Which are often the first things to go for the games that you tend to play?
Commonly, I think oceans are gone first.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that is assuming that you play with the preludes, which
Of course.
almost everybody does. But it's very common for the oceans, for the 3 oceans to be gone with preludes alone. So that just has 6 remaining. So I do think in common that the oceans are gone first, then the oxygen, and then the heat track. That is my experience.
Interesting. Yeah, I would agree with oceans. I feel for a lot of my games, I feel like the majority goes for heat first instead of oxygen.
Oh, really?
I think you're right with oxygen going first and heat being last. And it's tough with heat being last because if the oceans are gone, you don't really benefit with that 0 degree bump getting that free ocean.
You get 7 plant production. I get 5 plus 31 is 36 money production.
Meanwhile,
I
the
think-
oxygen. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
go for it.
Now the oxygen track is filling up nicely here.
Mhm.
I think we'll see the oxygen track being filled up first in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, only
Nicholas-
3 more forests to be played, and Levi's going to play at least one of them next round.
I still, of course, base them
27
eventually.
money.
Once the oxygen track is full, that kind of decreases Ecoline's power because
Mhm.
then they only score 1 point per forest
If
place.
I get,
So.
I mean, it's so devastating.
But still, Ecoline sitting with a lot of forests, 6 forests on the board. I think that other one looks green from my perspective, but I remember Nick Henning placing it down beside his city.
When I
Yeah.
filmed it, when I
Yeah, that's Nick's one. Jacopo has one, but all of the rest are Levi's.
Yeah.
to get that, like,
Oh, I would have SP'd Ocean.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
I would have SP'd the 7th Ocean if it gave me the
Nobody
bump.
contesting him for that landlord award anyway.
it's just like,
Yeah.
Over there.
Your inbox.
Yeah, I still really do like Jacopo's setup. Depending upon the cards left in his hand, he's sitting with the highest income. Well, I guess it's comboed. Levi's at 31, so Levi gets 36 every turn, and Jacopo's at 26 plus 13, so 39. Jacopo gets 39 mega credits every turn, so just ahead of Levi. But that's what you need with Credit Core, is being able to slam down those big cards. You need to have a good income structure going as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this was a tricky draft.
Yep.
So, what's your stance, Chris, on the stamina of these players, so to say? In my experience, playing a whole day of board games from
Yeah.
early in the morning till late in the night, like I can imagine, or at least in my experience, you are dead tired at the end.
Yeah,
Just
for sure.
for this final.
I think that's
Yeah,
a
guess
great
what?
point to make.
Coming over.
They've been playing Terraforming Mars all day, right? It is
No offense, but
probably
the other
10
three guys
o'clock
were-
at
well,
night
yeah, the two guys
at
were
this
right.
point,
Extremely,
and they would have started at
extremely
9 a.m. this morning.
Uh-huh,
It's been a very long tournament. Now it is only the first day, so you come in pretty fresh. I think we haven't seen a lot of misplays from these players, and I think as the days go on, you see the weight and the stamina of the players decrease because you're getting less sleep. This one, a lot of players have entered fresh. I think you need to, but yeah, stamina plays a huge factor. It really does, because it's one thing to be good at a game when you're fresh and at the beginning of a game night, and it's another thing to be good at a game after playing 4 days of tournaments.
Exactly.
What day was
As-
Dune Imperium on? Do you remember?
That was the third day.
The third day, yeah. I knew it was later in the tournament.
Yeah. So, but yeah, talking from experience, the second day was Arc Nova. So going into the ring finals of Arc Nova, and then directly the next morning starting Dune Imperium,
Right.
It does take some stamina. Like, one thing I will definitely do for the next World Series of Board Games is, just eat healthy, sleep a lot, because you do want to be at your best for the whole tournament.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It becomes a whole almost athletic event, right? You have to think about the food that you're consuming and the energy that you are getting. You can subsist off of coffee and energy drinks, but only for so long.
I would recommend take your veggies, because
yeah. Take your veggies. And I think that's one of the main things that the 2023 overall champion Angela said in maybe an interview with Ruel Gaviola. I know he had her on his channel, but she said, you know what? I feel like actually she's a runner, she said, and she's like, I've been doing some running, I've been like exercising, and she's like, that actually helped me a lot in the tournament, because it keeps you focused, right? Like your body is able to have that energy to go a long time. I know also in Jacopo, when he filmed a testimonial for one of our for video, and he said that Terraforming Mars was like his favorite game of all time. He became obsessed with it, and it was through Terraforming Mars that he lost like 80 pounds, I think he said. He got healthy because of Terraforming Mars. I don't know the full story other than that soundbite, but that just speaks to taking care of your body and your mind, and it's a good reminder as board gamers as well, because it is such a sedentary hobby. We're sitting down the whole time. Maybe next year the World Series will have a treadmill, one of the treadmill Splendor. The chips will be flying. Can't be Terraforming Mars. The cubes will be sliding off of all of your pieces. But we'll get on the treadmill. We'll see how every turn you make. The longer you take, the higher the resistance becomes. The faster your treadmill has to go, and we'll see the combo sport. Take the seeds.
Running Splendor.
Alright. You were the last one to buy it.
So we're on to Generation 6. Levi is first player, gets to make the first move.
Convert.
Really building up that Noctis City area. There's an interesting decision. Nick had an interesting decision early on. He contemplated putting it up a little bit further, but then went for the placement bonus. I wonder who has been holding on to Noctis City and who is very happy at this ring of forest that's just around it.
That's gonna be one very happy player.
Mm-hmm.
From me for now.
Immigrant City. 11. And we'll go down 1 here, down 1 here. We'll go pet.
Nick had that Immigrant City. I bet Nick had that for a while.
Yeah, you would want to play Immigrant City a bit earlier because what that card does, it gives you it costs you income when you play it, but it gives you income back for each subsequent city played by any other player. So Immigrant City is usually a card that you want to play sooner rather than later.
13,
But
switch back.
I think at this point, Nick will take any city that he can get, of course.
Yeah,
Blue, please.
needing those cheap points.
Titanium. Draw a card. Keep. That's 2 actions.
Let's see what this is.
We see Nicholas fishing for cards, hoping to get back into this game.
Yeah, I need to keep that.
Yeah, we can see that he has made a bit of a comeback on the points track. He is up to 24 terraforming rating. But knowing in the back of your head that you don't have one of those milestones, he is virtually 5 additional points behind, which seems a little bit intimidating.
Yeah. He has moved his titanium and steel tracks up pretty significantly. All of his tracks are moving forward, and so that is really benefiting the Robinson Corp, being able to capitalize a little effectively on his.
Get 2 gold. There's nothing under that space, was there? And that's 2 actions.
And finally sees 2 cities down, drops it down. A really nice play with that city, managing to scoop up those 2 points. Often with that card that lets you place beside 2 cities, it's very hard to scoop in forest points. It helps when Ecoline is in play, but
exactly. This card actually lets him net 4 points, which is pretty decent.
Right.
Urbanized area.
Event. 5. 2 change. And that's 1 action. Second action. I will play.
Alright.
We see the oceans might hit before the end of the oxygen. I thought oxygen might hit it, but now there's only 1 ocean tile remaining.
Well, I'm gonna federate, and boy, when it's a federation, it's a federation.
Standard project. Rename. Again. So change.
So here,
So
and here,
the tile is gonna be.
and here is 6 power. 6
Right.
additional.
The thing with oceans in Terraforming Mars is that even though heat is cheaper to increase through a standard project, with the oceans you can usually get a placement bonus as well.
Yeah.
Which gives you a rebate, which at the end or at the end of the line makes the ocean more attractive to place as a standard project, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, games can vary in that sense.
Or
No, but for sure we still have. You drop an ocean, you can get 2 steel, which is nothing to shake a stick at, or draw a card. Right? If you're really hurting, you need to hopefully luck into something that you haven't seen yet been played or drafted.
Exactly.
But with Jacobo's play, the oxygen has moved up. Could Levi clear both of those on his turn? That's what he might be looking to do. Capitalize on those 2 points.
I'm gonna spend 4. Symbiotic.
And I do think that we're gonna see Levi increasing the heat quite fast as well. In this case, his incidental heat production is going to pay off for him because that heat rack has not been filled up even to half. So there's a lot of points for him to score
We're good
there
about
as well.
stalling the heat
Yeah.
until the end of the turn. So keep that under 14.
Levi tracking that there's one thing that needs to be under 14. showing Levi's facility. I mean, Levi was our 2022 champion. He's been through this process before. He came out on top. And all the other players on the table are going to try to take this ring away from him. Or get a new ring. You get to keep your rings, don't worry. At WSBG, you don't have to return them and give them back to the next person. You get to keep it for all of time.
Right, yeah.
And over to you.
Plus 5, 9, 11. Increase one step my production. Get 3 plants.
It must be quite intimidating playing against a ring winner as well. I mean, I haven't faced any previous ring winners before, but you know, I would really like that opportunity at some point. Like you know, you're playing the best in the world. It's like you're going to face Michael Jordan on the basketball court or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Bit exaggerated maybe, but you know.
No, this is our sport, baby. This is our marathon. That's what the World Series is all about, right? Poker can do it, darts can do it, so many other different things can do it. That's exactly what the World Series of Board Gaming is standing for, is to develop that sort of ranking and to find the best all-around board gamers as well out there. It's great playing against people who are malleable and are just, you know, are really good competitors. It's exciting to watch too. Like, who knew watching board games could be so exciting? But every one of these commentaries that I've done, I've been enthralled the whole game. Because you can see the moves that they make, and maybe you may not have come up with that move, but then when you see it all come together, it's just wild to watch.
I still get the same amount of stuff. It's just less work.
And I think it was Jacopo who was able to play that last forest and bump that up into the oxygen. So no more points, no more terraforming points gained by your forest, but you still get points on the board. I think it was Jacopo who dropped it next to his capital city, down in the sort of lower right quadrant of the board.
And that other city is his as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's also 4 points for Jacopo by placing that forest, making it a very lucrative deal for him.
10 steel, 10 titania. Gold.
So, a lot of players talk about like a mega credit to point ratio, to victory point ratio in Terraforming Mars. And what you would want to look at is to see if you can get, you can score a victory point for 5 mega credits. That's about the exchange rate that you want to be looking for.
Right.
5 mega credits, 1 victory point. So that makes 4 victory points for a forest, which Jacopo also gets a rebate on. Makes it a pretty decent exchange rate.
Right. Yeah. Hits that 5 to 1.
I don't think I'll reduce my
Yeah. And again, shows you how good of an investment those milestones are. That's 5 points for 8 mega credits.
Yeah.
Which is a steal, basically.
Did you have one ecozone?
And also a good point about the awards too. Even that final award, it costs you 20 mega credits, but it could get you 5 points. However, you do have to be aware it might only get you 3 points net against your biggest competitor, and that's also something that you'll have to consider at this point in time.
Exactly.
I'll raise temperature.
Speaking of awards, it might be beneficial for Nicholas here to claim that minor award at some point. Him having the biggest production of all the players of steel and titanium. But
I think he has to. Yeah, in terms of getting points on the board.
But he will be helping Jacopo by this as well.
Yeah.
Which is his closest competition on the terraforming rating track.
But I think that's okay to do at this point. Like, Jacopo has had a lot of there's been a lot of threat happening, but he's still trailing a little in the points game behind Ecoline and behind all the pets points that Nick has gotten. And so I think Nicholas dropping that down, while it advances Jacopo, you still always want to play for first, right? So if Nicholas is going all out for first place, that does feel he does get a 5-point swing on Levi and Nick, which at this point I think is very important if he wants to try to get back into this game.
Yeah, he needs that as well. But him claiming that minor award might bump Jacopo above Levi and Nick.
True. And that's an interesting conversation to have too, right? I always play to win. I feel like a lot of people at WSBG, you play to win. You do whatever you can to have the best chance of winning. And what's good about a lot of these games is you don't really run into that king-making scenario. But there is that potential, right, where you do help an opponent, especially with these awards. And when do you pull the trigger? For me, if I was Nicholas, I would still probably invest in minor at this point, because I know my income's going to be larger than everybody.
Plus 32 is 37. So $37.
And just to get that point increase, just to combat that milestone, and then maybe try to do science and pivot to a science, although I think it's pretty close. Try to get an award that will benefit one person, and then try to focus on the award that will benefit a second person. Spread out those second place points and get 10 points yourself, while dropping some expensive cards down the line. It does feel, I don't know when this game is going to end, but I don't think we're making it to Gen 9 at this point. We're on to Gen 7. I don't know. We still have nine bumps of the heat track to happen and 1 ocean. So 10 end game triggers to go. What do you think, Nikhil? Do we think we're hitting 9, or do you think we're hitting 8? I think we're getting through 7 easy.
We're getting through 7. I don't think we will be hitting 9.
Yeah.
10 points is not a lot. Plus, I think we do have a player in Levy who does want the game to end quicker.
Yeah.
He has a nice income engine, so he has the money to buy those standard projects to end the game quicker.
Yeah.
So I think that is what we will be doing.
And also, too, Jacopo, the tough spot that Jacopo is in right now is that if he's sitting on a bunch of expensive cards, like the asteroids that you're throwing at the planet, they always affect heat, right? So it may benefit him to slam them down and push that up and get a bunch of points, but it also will speed the end of the game. So I think with that combo, I think we'll see it go one more generation.
Yeah.
But I don't see us getting past 8. Which might have an impact on people who wanted the game to go a little bit longer.
Yeah, for sure.
I know, dude.
I think Nick wouldn't mind the game going to 9.
Yeah, for sure. And what you'll probably see, not in this phase, but in the next phase, you'll start to see people selling a card one at a time to sort of wait out their opponents and to see if the game is going to end that generation or if the game will continue one more generation. That's very important knowledge to have. And so having the cards in your hand that you can just slowly sell one card at a time, as long as there aren't any things that you really need to invest in quickly and that your opponents can build and increase their lead upon while you slow roll and wait to see what people will do, letting them just get all the points and saying, okay, now I'll make my decision. You can't hold off getting points, but you can suss it out in a little bit.
Those blue cards with actions on them help for that as well. You can take an action on a blue card and pass your turn.
Now, it is worth noting, though, that in the 2022 final, Levi was the first one to pass in that generation, in the last generation. There were people who were trying to wait it out. There was somebody playing the Science Corps, and they had so many cards, and they just waited it out, and Levi ended up winning just by 1 point in that game. And I think it came down to Levi passing first because there were some attack cards played in that final round. And so Levi having passed, nobody would attack him because it wouldn't make any sense, right? You attack the people who are still in the game, and that, I think, made the difference. So going out early also could have a huge impact, because it was very close. It came down to 1 point between first and second last year.
Wow.
Sure. There's one. Sure.
Gonna be disturbed.
I do think this game is going to be close as well.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, the players are not too far removed from each other on the points track. Levi, of course, with a lot of board position, but then again, Levi doesn't have a lot of cities.
Yeah. Doesn't have any, I don't think.
Doesn't have any. Yeah. So, I mean, that one city from Nicholas, that urbanized area is worth 4 points by its own. It's worth 4 forests that Levi plays. So
Yeah.
I think the players are deceptively close to each other on board presence.
Mm-hmm. And because the milestones are evenly split between the 3 leading players, that's a wash, right?
Yeah.
The only person it really impacts is Nicholas, who
Yeah.
unfortunately still has a lot of work to get back into this game.
Yeah.
Buy them both. 12. Sorry, why 12? 6. 2 cards.
I will
Yakubo keeping 2 cards, Levi buying 1 card. Only holding on to 1, but that's because his strategy is still in play. It's throw a bunch more plants on the board.
Exactly.
And at this point, it's just plants and maybe Noctis City. I'm excited to see who plays Noctis City and gets those 3 points. It'll be an exciting moment.
You inventory.
I've invented.
I want to see who's been holding on to it, prepared to do it.
13, that makes it 9. So 10 and $1 change.
And Nick getting that last ocean tile.
TR for blue, please. We'll go here. Take $2. One titanium.
Great placement. Obviously having larger titanium cards in the hand, opting for the money instead of the steel, netting 5 value out of that instead of the 2 steel up top, which is 4 value.
Here. Move me back. My second action. I'm gonna try the Adventurers Guild. See how that works for me.
Nicholas, I think he's hit once, 1 out of 6 or 1 out of 7 on that Adventures Guild in terms of cards that he wanted. That's a tough break.
That is a tough break. Would have been awesome if that was Noctis City, right?
Yeah, exactly. Draw right into it. Oh, you know what? I want to live in the world where that was Noctis City. 100%. I'm just picturing it. You know what? It happened in my head. It really did. Nicholas, congratulations. Great play with Noctis City. You drew into it. A lot of the players having big hands of cards still, which is somewhat surprising to me at this stage of the game. Like having 8 or 9 cards in your hand that you still want to play. Sure, you have a lot of money. Now the cards might be cheap; they might discount each other. But I think that's how you see true peak efficiency of Terraforming Mars is at the end of the game. having purchased all of your cards that you at least kept. There's no worse feeling than keeping a card, paying $3 to keep it, and then having to sell it down the line for $1.
Right. Yeah.
Now, of course, some of these cards you get as bonuses from the board or from other card drawing engines.
Seems like the end goal.
But yeah, a lot of players still having a lot of cards in their hand. I see around close to what looks like 8 for each.
Plants. Conversion.
You know I like to see it. You know I like to see that forest placement. Someone has to be sitting on it. I think Levi's sitting on it. The fact that Levi keeps expanding in that way, I think there's no way that Levi's doing that unless he has Noctis City in his hand.
It's got to be right.
I mean, he just gave Nicholas a point.
Yeah.
So for sure he's been sitting on it. That's been my suspicion ever since he made that second expansion out of there.
I'm gonna try the business network.
Again, no luck for Nicholas with that draw.
With the draw, yeah.
This conference for 10, for 9, 3 steel,
Alright,
3
well,
There's also been a surprising lack of Jovian tags played this game as well. I think Nicholas has 1 Jovian on the board, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
The Jovians can be used for quite a lot of points if you're able to play all of them. They all kind of chain together. A lot of them are 1 point per Jovian tag. And, oh no, it looks like Levi might have a couple over on his board as well.
Right. Yeah.
But those used mostly for that plant production. Also a good setup for Levi in case he happens to draw into one of those Jovians, point getters.
Yeah.
He was slow rolling with 2 discards instead of 1.
Nice. No, it's just one of the next elections in this.
Those are expensive cards, though, the Jovian
Yeah.
multipliers. You really want them if it would be Jacopo, you have a lot of titanium, which is worth 4.
This is why I said
Yeah.
I discard 2 cards. He has 1 action.
Oops.
And then
I will level flows. So, 18. And then that will be the lava card. Place it here. That will give me 1 titanium and 1 plant. Titanium, 1 plant.
A nice spot for that big old volcano, getting a little bit of titanium
Double spend.
instead of card draw.
Plants.
did you get the 2 points?
Oh, sorry. So 2.
Levi just being able to spend so many plants per turn. Like the amount of plant generation that's been coming Levi's way is really astronomical.
And don't forget, his corporation allows him to place a forest for 7 plants instead of 8.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, you got
Not this city completely surrounded now.
Noctis City completely surrounded. The
He's
players
gotta have it, right?
laughing around the table. I think Nick said, I wonder what card you have in your hand. Levi's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I really like watching Levi as a player. He's methodical, and he also plays a little like me in terms of how he interacts with the players around the table. He's pretty cheeky. He'll never really reveal his hand, but he will, at that like Noctis City area. And he also pays attention to what other players are playing and holding on to, and informs the table about it too. He'll say, listen, in case you've forgotten, this person's holding on to that card, so if you do this move, you're going to set them up. Now you can do that move. If it benefits you, great, but like have that knowledge before you take that as a decision. And I think that's important to do sometimes around in games where there's a lot of tracking going on.
We're very close. Bedtime is soon.
Players talking about bedtime. They're feeling the first day, like that stamina we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
If you're from UK, it's the next day.
Oh yeah, Jacopo lives in the UK. Is from Italy, lives in the UK, and came to Vegas for this event.
Right. Yeah.
I hope you had a wonderful honeymoon, Jacopo. I think it's awesome, so awesome that Jacopo made the final table. Out of all the players in the Terraforming Mars, I'll be honest, I was secretly rooting for Jacopo to make this final table because I know how much Terraforming Mars means to him, and just having him here is awesome.
So we're gonna play Sea of Favorite Project just to get what, pay one to get three.
Yeah.
And so or nothing.
You don't need a honeymoon, by the way, to go to Vegas.
That's
there's
true.
Plenty of things to do in the city. Yeah.
So I get full production.
For me, the World Series of Board Gaming 2023 was the 5th time I went to Vegas.
Oh, really? Amazing.
I get 7 cashback.
Yeah,
You've been there more than me.
It's really awesome.
It's 3 for the event.
Yeah.
Maybe. There's always something to do. So I if players haven't been to Las Vegas, and you like board games, it's just it's really worth a visit. Like even if you just play one day or whatever, there's always
That will give me
Always something to do. I think I lost your very last sentence there, Mikhail, but I think I got you back now.
7 to 9.
That's awesome, though. I'm glad. Were
Yeah.
you able to see any shows? But I think you made 2 final tables. I feel like your days might have been pretty jam packed.
Well, we actually went to Vegas like a week before the event.
Oh, amazing!
Just so we could watch those shows and do those things and whatever. But the main thing, of course, is the World Series of Board Gaming. But aside from that, there's so much to do. The Cirque du Soleil shows and whatever. I can't recommend it enough for people who are on the fence. Just do it.
Awesome. And if you need any tips about what to see and do while you're there, well, now you know who to talk to.
I saw this card for $1.
Okay. I'm gonna sacrifice.
We see Nick starting that selling card for $1 train.
Skip.
The heat's moved up, but I see us still going another generation. I don't see us ending here.
Pretty good for Levi as well that he played that baked volcano card.
Right.
It actually moved the heat up 2 spots for him as well, so getting closer to that end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think there will be another generation.
Yeah. So players will have one last chance to luck into some cards that they need to enact their plans. Yeah, it's still a pretty tight race though between Levi, Nick, and Jacopo. Nick's cities on the board he's got 5 points in cities on the board. Jacopo has Oh, with his capital city though, he's got quite a few points. Something like 11? Is it 2 points per ocean or 1?
16.
Sorry, 2 points per ocean?
Oh no, 1 point per ocean.
It's
1
just
point per
one
ocean.
point per
Yeah, it's
ocean
1
for
point
his
per
capital.
ocean.
Yeah.
Animal.
But still has 10 points out of his 3 cities on the board, and so Levi has
My money production from
7 forests down, but will also be dropping Noctis City, so we'll have around 12 points. So in terms of board points, Levi's out a little ahead still. But there's also points on cards that we have to keep track of as well, or we have to put into account.
That's 9 of it. Here's another 3.
7 points for 12. Everyone was waiting for the cities.
So it's here, and then I get 1 per. I think there's 7.
So if I was planning to go for break,
That's yeah, skip.
Let's pass. I will add a bird. What's the word?
I can pass that to turn and hit the restroom.
you don't took it.
Correct.
Levi did manage to throw down birds as well,
Okay.
which he'll scoop up a few more points. At least one point more, should the
Yeah.
generation continue.
Increase your ATR by 1. I will activate symbiotic fungus to add a micro.
Reaches 35 points on the terraforming track.
Wow. Ready for that milestone. Came a little bit late.
Okay. But yeah, I pass.
Levi having a lot of resources on his cards as well, though.
31 and 7 is 30.
Knowing his engine as well, the amount of points that, the amount of turns that he's been able to take when everybody passed in that 7th generation is pretty telling. Earlier on, you want to take more turns because it shows you developing your engine, but when it's at the end of the game, generally you've developed this engine that's cooking and is kind of representative of the board state as well, especially if everything you put down gives you potential points.
5.
The other players just have to watch.
Yeah.
5.
It's been great. Players been very diligently and effectively using that little tracking cheat sheet. It's so easy to lose track of how many things you grab. You know, you grab 4 little cubes, you throw them, you splash the pot. That's why poker tournaments you can't have people splashing the pot, because
Exactly. You want to see what's going on, and it's not even for cheating or whatever, because
Yeah.
you know I don't think there are any cheaters at these tables, but it's just to keep things clean, to see, hey, I took this, you put it on your card, and I give this back, you put that on the card, and then you make the exchange.
yeah. And it's again more of a comment of that stamina, right? It's been a long days.
Yeah.
Long days are going to happen, and
Everyone's produced video.
I know
Oversights
the judge Scott Sacenti, who's one of our main judges, said the same comment. He judged the Great Western Trail final table as well. He said the same thing. He said, "Listen, I've never seen a perfect game of Terraforming Mars. You know, there's always going to be something, but we're going to do our best to try and get to that perfect game."
Yeah, this happens. Yeah. No, but it does add another skill element to the game as well. Like, you have to keep focused,
Right.
to keep watching what's going on. It's why I prefer analog gaming over digital gaming as well, right? Because, you know, it's an added level of skill to be able to
Right.
manage your cards, your income, your things, your pieces.
That's true. You don't have something just automating it for you. Certainly, I find it easier to learn a game in person than digitally, because digitally something happens, it scores. I say, I don't know how I got those points, and I never will. Thank you, computer.
Yeah.
We see the draft is fast and furious. Players having their decisions made. They know this is the last generation. They're looking for things that have heat on it or points on it. If you don't have points on the card and it doesn't have heat on the card, it goes in the bin.
At this point, you're not looking for income. You're not like anything that gives you extra income in mega credits or steel production or whatever. You can basically just ignore. That's kind of a dead card at this point.
Yeah.
Unless you really want to go for that miner or banker award, but it's not worth purchasing the card at this point.
And you were right. We haven't seen that second or third award be funded. We just have the Landlord Award, which is important to consider when we're thinking about scores. Levi does have that extra boost. Levi, I think, has the Landlord locked in.
Yeah.
Levi having 10 or so spots, and the next person who's closest is Jacopo with 6. And Levi, we know he's going to drop some more forests. We know he's going to drop Noctis City. But Jacopo might pick up those extra two points. I think Nick Henning sitting at 4, and then Nicholas sitting at 3 on the board.
Yeah, that Landlord
Doesn't
is
seem like an
pretty much
exciting
locked up
drafting
for
phase for
Levi.
anyone in that round.
At this point, Jacopo might consider funding that banker award.
Yep.
Just to basically cancel out Levi's Landlord award, or actually putting Jacopo ahead in award points, because I think Nicholas is the second one on the track, right?
Although looking at it now, Nicholas might actually have the banker. We must have missed some income plays. Oh, Nicholas played one where he gets an income for every city. I remember Levi was saying, everybody's been waiting for the cities to go down. So yeah. Nicholas has shot up in that mega credit, so it would actually benefit Nicholas to get both the banker and the miner. That's how Nicholas does get back in the game.
But that helps Jacopo as well to get even with Levi on the awards.
Yeah, for sure. It helps him. Jacopo would probably get second in both of those categories. Jacopo would love 4 free points as Nicholas spends 34 mega credits.
Exactly.
One change, sorry. I get 3 steps.
Oh, man.
1, 2, and 3.
Oh, a big play by Jacopo to get back in the race.
Oh, that puts him Levi on the Terraforming track. Yeah. Wow.
That's one action. That's my second action. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that was Demos down, the big asteroid.
Yeah.
3 steps. We'll see. Is he going to go for a standard project to get that heat? Levi looks like he might be sitting on 2 heat bumps with the amount of heat that's on his player mat right now. I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2. That, I think, would make the decision for Jacopo, because if it's 2 steps, it depends on his cards, though. He might need to keep his money to play his larger cards.
Yeah, again, at this stage, you're also looking at money to victory point conversion ratio.
Right.
And with a standard project in Heat, you are paying 14 mega credits for 1 victory point.
Right.
If you can beat that with your cards, or with by placing a city, for example,
You're still thinking, right? Okay, just making sure.
then you just have to consider: are you willing to pay extra to deny Levi that point in converting his heat to a temperature. Right?
Yeah. Because essentially then 14 becomes 2 points. If Levi is the front runner, I think Levi looks to be the front runner right now. He has felt that way throughout most of the game, although I do feel Nick and Jacopo have been within striking distance the whole time. But if he is the front runner, then that 14 becomes at least 2 points, because you deny that swing.
Yeah.
But still only 7-1, which you could potentially beat with your cards. We saw Jacopo flirting with his plants. I could see him wanting to drop plants down, seeing if he has a chance to get landlord, knowing that it's outside of his grasp.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very tricky. Though that spot on the bottom left side of his bottom right side city looks pretty attractive for him as well. Gives him 2 points for mega credits rebate. Again, also if he does it as a standard project, 4 back from his corporation.
Yep. So 3 points for 19. A little bit better than going for heat.
Yeah.
By the slimmest of margins, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not flex.
And sometimes those margins do matter. Sometimes it matters the psychological effect you have on a player by taking a point out from under them. You can rattle them. I would give up 0.33 of a point to potentially disrupt my opponent's plan. But it does give an interesting conundrum, because if Levi doesn't spend his heat, it looks like Nicholas down in the corner is sitting on a lot of heat, though. I think Nicholas feels like he could win pretty much every award that's left. But if Levi doesn't need to spend his heat, Levi could potentially fund an award, or bait Nicholas into using his heat so that Levi could fund that Thermalist award and snag 5 points in a sneaky way.
I was thinking about that George before this round. We had a really good time. Keep getting sucked back in.
I think we're still on Jacopo. These last turns are so crucial, right? You don't want to make a mistake now.
No, especially if you're tight on the terraforming track.
Burn out on this real quick and I'll be done.
Yeah.
Still haven't played Argentina.
And I think I just heard Jacopo say, no one else can fund anything.
That's interesting.
So he's looking at Levi's board, looking at Nick Henning's board, and seeing if someone's going to do something. And I think he's come to the realization that Nicholas might do it for him. Nick Henning hovering, making sure that he's making a thing, and then getting his pet.
Exactly.
That really matters, I'm sure.
I think I see 8 cubes on that pet card, which converts into 4 victory points for Nick.
That makes sense. 8 cities on the board. Nick got it out before anything was dropped down. Oh, right. Levi, of course, has where he can manipulate the temperature without spending heat.
My turn is tardigrades. We got there, guys. We're at 8. I debated about playing it on turn 1, and I was like, you know what? It's going to be an 8-turn game.
Well, I had 8 points. How do you know? You spared you the wrath of my ants.
Skip.
plants. To a greenery, which is gonna be over here. Which is gonna give me 4 cashback. 5, 1 change.
I have 2 plant production.
And I need.
So Jacopo does place that greenery over there.
Nice.
Nice.
Really solid spot for it.
5, 11.
Gets a good use for his plants.
Mm-hmm. Making a play for the landlord, but there's no real chance that he'll be able to snag it away from Levi.
No.
Had to leave it to you.
But last round one.
Yeah, Nicholas, seeing there's some cards in his hand, letting him draw cards, although it does have points on it, just wasn't able to get that card draw engine going in the way that he wanted.
I went forward.
But surprisingly, Nicholas doesn't take that heat point, even though he's sitting, obviously wants to fund Thermalist. Wants to leave his options open to make sure that he can fund with those awards. But a really, really surprising that Nicholas didn't.
That's true. I just mean when you say for now, it's like, well, let's go for
Didn't
now.
take the last point.
Yeah,
I'm just giving
which
us
enables
options
Levi
and
to get those
getting
2 points on the
good,
heat.
friendly.
That's pretty huge at this point in the game that nobody blocked him.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm here for it. I'm supposed to play in advance of that if I'm worried about cash. I think no matter
Now,
what
I wonder
play
if he's
next,
still
though,
going to play
it's,
Noctis City.
I have one of each, ridiculously enough.
That's true. He's gotta keep his
So tentative.
keep his money there.
Mm.
Wait, don't you remember? Nicholas played Noctis City when he drew it all those turns ago.
Oh, right.
Now is the wording time.
And skip.
Yeah, Nicholas holding onto that heat to make sure he locks in Thermalist. That's going to, but that's going to benefit Levi.
Mm.
That's a wild play from Nicholas, just letting Levi having 3 heat production.
Cash spelling big.
No one else turning. I think Nick Henning only having 3 heat total, so Levi gonna get second placed in that Thermalist. Nicholas just extending Levi's lead. That just feels like a wild play at this point in the game.
Yeah.
I think Nicholas must be checked out at this point, though. He knows there's no real way but just going for what he has locked in solid. But I don't know why he wouldn't fund the miner or the banker over that. I guess the banker, he's threatened by Jacopo, who just overtakes him in that with that play. So Thermalist is a sure thing.
Better, I'll do it.
But the miner also feels like a sure thing for Nicholas, and would potentially then force the other players into more interesting decisions of do they spend their excess or not. Yeah, just feels a bit like Nicholas should have funded the miner, but maybe he's going to do that next.
I will. Just add a bird for now. I think that's what I'm going to do with my life.
Levi opting to just add a bird so that he can have more time to think and keep the game moving so all the players can get to bed on time. Nick sells a card, saving up. We see these players going into that waiting game
Skip.
That's my last action.
of drawing out their turns so that they can benefit.
It's
9. And I get a 3 production just in case someone wants to.
Nice with you.
Yeah, not a bad play from Jacopo. Doesn't get any points out of it, but will be able to drop a city down and has a number of different spots where he can do that.
Still score 2 points. Yeah.
It feels like Levi playing Noctis City should also be an auto play at this point. It should. You have to incorporate that in.
Yeah, I am trying to see whether he has enough money for it, because for Noctis City you also need 1 power production, which
Oh,
he
right.
does not have.
Did you see what it was? The
was.
So maybe Levi already discarded it.
Yeah, well, I picked it in the initial because I figured, you know,
Maybe.
you know, somebody decided to prolong the oxygen track. yeah, for now.
For now.
A nice, calm, friendly table. And it hasn't been that many direct attacks as well, as Levi pointed out. Nick just playing down a solid 2-point card, getting those points in the cards.
Memorial for 4. There's the 4.
I couldn't get it because that round I needed the money to do all the stuff.
It's only $1 after that.
Yeah, but if I was keeping the card, I was to play it.
Oh, skip. Sorry.
This is the veterans rule. Which doesn't.
Oh, sorry.
You can't get.
Yeah, it's
points.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. I will spend 25.
Yeah, I think the Noctis City dream is dead. I've been talking about it this whole game, and I don't see it happening.
Maybe nobody has this.
Nobody has it. Must have been discarded early, and that's why Levi knew he was safe to build up there.
That's it. 200 back.
A city placement from Levi, making sure he gets $2 back. Must have plans for those $2. Efficiency down to the wire.
I'll pay $1 for investment loan. Go down here, take 10 bucks.
Of course, also mooching 1 point off of Jacobus for us.
Yeah.
I paid them at first. They borrowed money from me.
A bit surprising that he didn't go for the spot right above where he would have been touching 2 forests.
I know, right?
And would have gotten a card, so would have gotten $1 back. So I guess he really needed those $2 to do his final plan.
Must be. Yeah.
To standard project, a power plant.
You finally realize I had.
Oh, there it is.
Right.
Standard projects his power plant, gets his.
Yeah.
The last card. The last card, 18.
Down to the last card.
Down to the last card. Here it comes. Levi knows how to make a dramatic finish. That's it. Drops it right there for 5 points. That is pretty good. That's a milestone. That's an award. That's Noctis City. What a great combo with Ecoline, making that perfect ring.
Also gives you
Only disrupted by Nicholas's earlier city play.
city triggers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I put a city deck.
Thank you.
I'm being plus 2.
That's
But
Of course, another pet and another income for Nick. Placing a city.
Your deck's +1 on that the whole game.
because our second turn of the game was pets pass.
Yeah, Nick, I think feeling the hit of that planner play, Nick not really able to get a huge engine going at the beginning, but he did manage to nail down that milestone.
It's 10 for 10.
But you should have just like, you know, if there's no mark there, you can just.
No, I just assumed that you place Noctis down there. I was just like, what?
No. They're Noctis City bug on this version of Thorsos.
I just didn't see.
Yeah, I had to place the city down there because I needed 2 points.
Levi pointing out that he needed exactly $2. Although it does look like there's something left. Oh, it's a little 5. I don't know. I'm sure he has plans. You know what? At this point, Levi, I'm gonna trust that we'll see your plans happen in action. I'm fairly confident that our 2022 ring champion, and at this point, it's pretty close. Could be 2023. Could be a repeat. I think you probably got the math right.
If you know that you need just 2 more bucks to make your plan work, you know you've got a solid plan at that point.
Yeah. But it still could be. I mean, Levi does have a lot of points on his cards as well. You know, I was thinking that maybe the pets might help Nick get back into this, and Nick's been playing a lot of cards that do have points on it, so I think we'll see a big push from Nick. But it feels like Levi turns away from winning this game just based upon the structure of the board, based upon him having both an award and a milestone that he can capitalize on.
Yeah, as long as you finish your current amount with them.
Yeah, but don't underestimate those hidden points.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I know Nick also has that card that gives you 1 point per 3 cities placed.
Right.
I mean, that's 3 points on its own. There could still be like a end game surprise.
Definitely could be, right? I remember seeing in the 2022 final, the person again who came in second had something wild, like half of his points were in cards. Didn't have board presence, but because he was constantly playing sign symbols, playing cards for cheap, drawing cards, getting those points, he had a lot of Jovians. It really can always come down to the wire, which is what makes Terraforming Mars so exciting.
Exactly.
Especially in these final plays, we see Nick playing like 2-point cards every time. Really racking up those points. Jacopo is running low on funds, though. I was hoping to see maybe a couple more big drops.
Selling a card. Skip. Okay. I'm going to spend 7 points.
Nicholas waiting to see what everybody does before he makes his final decisions. Could be eliminating spots on the board, though.
I will discard a card for $1. Alright, that's me.
That's also a really nice play from Levi as well. I mean, nobody could play, but by placing his city there, he eliminates that other place as a possible city, right? So
Right.
he gets $2 and he takes away a spot that's worth 2 points, leaving only one spot left on the board where there are 2 points to be earned.
Yeah.
Mango for 10. Play up top here.
A nice card this late in the game for Nick. $10 gets him a point on the board and gets him 2 steel to chain back in. I really like Nick's final turn.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was thinking that the game would go 8 turns though, so wasn't planning on 9.
2.
11 plus 12. 1 is 12.
It's 4 more, 16. 18.
Players are counting the
Wow.
events because of the media archive card that
Mhm.
gives Nicholas money per event played over the whole game, so he gets a whole bunch of money with that card.
Yeah, really capitalizing, getting a nice cash infusion this late in the game is nice.
Oh, yeah, I got it, because he's...
Will he use it to fund that second award? I don't know.
18 events.
Oh,
two
yes.
extras.
He didn't make spend. I spent
He
another
might
2 to
fund
get
it.
to make sure.
I am permanently out.
And Levi passes for the round. Jacopo has passed for the round. It's down to Nick, Henning, and Nicholas to finish this up, and then we'll head into final scoring. Waiting each other out, it seems.
Alright, back to me. Back to you. I had all the multipliers, I just couldn't find an effing Jovian tag the whole game. So there's 20.
Yeah.
Sorry, 17. 17. This makes it 50. So down. Now it costs 2.
We see
So maybe-
Nicholas was hoarding the Jovians.
5,
Yeah. Maybe that was his plan all along. As Nicholas
Yeah.
said, like he had the Jovian multipliers in hand, just not the right amount of Jovian cards.
Yeah,
And those multipliers are expensive.
yeah.
So
No,
each time a city tile is placed.
Oh, okay, yeah, it does. Skip.
So that gives another bet for Nick as well,
Mm-hmm.
getting him an extra victory point on that card.
Yeah, I was also thinking what the players were flagging. They said each time, isn't that just on Mars? There's another card that it's when a city's placed on Mars, you get something. I think that's for the income bump.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many science
Probably
types
thinking
do we
about Immigrant
have?
City.
3. Nobody have anywhere near 7?
Not even remotely.
Walking scientist.
And Nicholas Fun Scientist. Yeah, Nicholas was going to be able to get pretty much anything, but I wonder who's going to get second in Scientist.
And water import costs 25 down to 22. I'm even gonna
Nicholas
sell
saying,
my
"Listen, everything I'm doing
back.
doesn't affect the board. Just let's finish this. Let's get this thing done."
No such thing as a perfect terraform.
Yep, yeah, you had to blow it right. That's the only mistake we made since before I started.
Really nice forest play from Nick, getting himself 3 points with that. Yeah, I really like how Nick's been playing this last round. Right, you can see his plans. The planner has come through. He saw the end of the game. But Nick Henning is also a very good board gamer, being the double ring winner from 2022, and I think making 3 final tables in 2023.
Yeah.
At Arc Nova
Yeah.
with you, and then at the Great Western Trail final as well.
Exactly. Yeah, very good board gamer all around. I also like his channel a lot.
Mm. Yeah, he has a board game channel where he shares strategy tips. He'll also do commentary. He's done some commentary with me here on the official WSBG commentary, and he does his own commentary for all of the games as well. You can check out his channel at Phoenix, spelled like a phoenix, but then with Nick in there.
Involved in would be shocking. 16 plus 27.
Nicholas saying he's not expecting to be involved in any tiebreakers as he gets his income.
It's 35 plus 18. It's 53. 50.
Players just doing that money because it does count for tiebreaker,
10 plus 37.
and it could come down to it.
Yeah.
Looking like in any tiebreaker, Jacopo might come out on top.
Mm.
And 10 plants. It's me.
Just got the plan. We don't care about this. That's 14 and 31 for 45.
Oh, could be Nick. Could be Nick.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Nick might have 5. No, Nick's at 52, and I think Jacopo is at 57
Right.
or 58 by my count. So Jacopo will win ties. Now they're going through and building their final plants. The location's already pretty predetermined for all of our players. Jacopo, Levi, and Nick getting to place 1 plant each and giving themselves each 2 points because they're not touching anyone else's cities with these placements.
This makes it all connect to be like that.
Yeah,
Nick,
the
Nick
landlord
opting for
situation.
beauty.
Alright. So,
The landlord situation is pretty much unchanged.
Yep. So now we proceed into final scoring. We saw our judge take a picture of the board just in case we needed to reverse anything.
And then I finished second, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yep.
Okay, so it's
Jacopo picking up those 2 points for the landlord. We saw Levi
Scientist.
moving up that 5 already.
Second. He's got 3.
Yep. It's got 32. Blue goes 2.
Nick Henning getting a bump.
31.
So we take off
Thermalist, it's another 5 points for Reds, so it goes to 37. And it's 2 points for both of you.
Yep.
Oh, a tie! Wow, a tie for Nick Henning. That's pretty clutch. I thought Levi had that second place locked in.
So 37, 42.
The tie means that they both get the 2 points.
35, 40.
Just like it's a friendly game, it's a friendly tie.
Exactly.
All right, so all the milestones and the awards are scored.
Greeneries, blue gets 4.
We see green shooting up a little bit.
So 1, 2,
I think Jacopo's sitting at 42.
Red gets 1.
It's a little hard to see the yellow on the screen. Levi's sitting at 49,
Red goes from 37 to 38.
scoring the
Then I get 5.
forest right now.
5. Yellow goes from 42 to 47.
You should get 11.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. 1, 2,
11 points for green. Levi getting up to 60. Jacopo at 47, Nick at 44, and Nicholas at 38. But still cities to score on the board. That's where we'll see Jacopo make up some points here. And then we'll turn to the cards.
49,
I don't want none of y'all to get this decked out, but
Then cities. Red gets 5.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
So it goes from 38 to 43.
Then blue gets 8. Yeah.
5, 3.
A solid 8.
And
Blue
A
goes
solid
from
8 from Nick Henning with his 2 cities. That's pretty good.
I'm counting.
That is
capital
not too
C
bad.
In cities. So I've got 5 and 3, 8 and 2, 10 and 4, 14.
So 4.
14 in cities for Jacopo. Really, really good score on cities.
14.
Yes. And Levi.
In the end, Jacopo scored more on his cities than Levi did on his forest. So,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Right on top of green. You got 8.
3, 5.
Jacopo overtaking Levi 61 to 60, but Levi scoring his cities, getting up to 68. Scores right now. Levi at 68, but Jacopo's closing the gap. So it'll all come down to the points on cards.
Exactly.
Cubes on cards. Cubes on cards. We should do.
Yeah, cubes on cards. 0. Do you have any cubes on cards? Okay, so you have
2, 3 plus 6 makes 9.
9 points on
12
for cubes for Nick.
6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. Wipe all those out. Blue goes from 52 to 61.
52 to 61, tied with Jacopo.
3 birds. I have 9 decomposers, so 3, 3, and 3.
Jacopo did not have any resource or cards, so
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt that climb. Nick Henning now back into the game though. Levi extending his lead though, sitting at 76. They've got a lot of work to catch up with points.
that's big. That's a big.
77. He made a.
Yeah. 68 plus 9 is 77. I actually do math for a living.
Levi making a math mistake, saying after doing math for a living. Nicholas's final score hits at 60, just to add insult to injury. Just one behind both Nick and Jacopo before they've counted up. Oh, Jacopo only getting 2 points in his cards though. That's not going to catch Levi with that.
4, 5, 6, 8, 7.
77.
Levi getting another 7 points. So Levi's final score being 84. And we'll see if Nick can make that up with his cards.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Nick having 12 plus 1 for every 3 cities.
11 cities, so that's
15 points for Nick, bringing his total score to 76. So final score, Levi 84, Nick Henning 76, Jacopo at 63, and Nicholas making a decent comeback, but still in fourth at 60. Levi Marino is crowned the 2023 Terraforming Mars champion.
Get out of here. Be back down
Is
in
our
5
only
hours.
double ring winner.
Only the double ring winner in the same game, right?
In the same game, the only back-to-back champion that repeated. As the players just clean up.
Literally just take 15 at that point.
Can we write down the scores before we clear the
What a
board?
comeback from Nick as well.
3 multipliers, and I just couldn't
single.
get. I had card drawing engines. I invested so much in being able to draw cards. Never passed any Jovians. The only Jovian I saw was Miranda.
Oh yeah, they like having the score on these.
Yeah, talking about not getting those Jovians as well. But that's it. Congratulations goes out to Levi Marino, our 2022 Terraforming Mars champion and 2023 Terraforming Mars champion. That's wild. What a game, though. Nick Henning had a real comeback with those points, but Levi just extending with those plants early and being able to get that award, those milestones early. A really, really solid game by Levi, and really well played though by everybody around the table.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations to Levi. What a great game! What full of surprises, full of emotion, and I think he is a deserving champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think you've got what it takes, if you're a great Terraforming Mars player, well, the same guys won it twice. Maybe if you're better than Levi, if you're scoring more than 84 points in your games, I mean, you've got what it takes to be the champion, right? I think that's what that means.
It could be you.
It could be you. So come hang out with us in Vegas. Get your tickets at WSBGVegas.com. Don't forget to use that code IAMIN for $50 off your stay and play package. And be sure to book your tickets now because our best hotel rate can expire. So I want you to get the best possible rate and get ready to compete for a marathon. Get your stamina up. Get your green juice going. And always remember to play Noctis City as the last card in the game. And drop it down for the big finale. Levi knows how to finish it flashy. Thanks everybody for watching. Michiel, any final thoughts to say before we sign off?
No, not really. I hope to see you all, of course, at the World Series of Board Gaming in Vegas. Keep practicing, get enough sleep, eat your veggies, etc.
That's perfect. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you all next time.
See you next time.